Dan Abern here reporting for Inside Lacrosse, where after nearly 2 hours of weather delays, I can say that Maryland defeated Yale 12-11 in what really became a bizarre thriller. For Maryland, it was just another day at the office for the attack unit known as Run DMC, but this time around it was Colin Heacock who was simply unconscious in this game. He had 3 goals and 2 assists, while Matt Rambo had 2 goals and 1 assist. And one notable absence in this game was Ben Reeves, who was ruled out this morning. Eric Scott played outstanding in his absence. He had 5 goals and an assist, and with 5 seconds left, it was his hot hand that was chosen to deliver the possible game-time goal. It did not happen, though. The shot sailed way over Dan Morris's head, and the follow-up attempt found nobody. Maryland emerged the victors. Once again, it was just another weird game. Coach Dimlin said it was one of the weirdest games he's ever been a part of. Andy Shea, however, did say that the weather delay had no effect on his team or his effort in the final 4 minutes of the game.
This is Thomas Casali from the Carrier Dome, where Army upset Syracuse 14-13. It was David Sims with less than a second to go with a left-handed shot for the game winner. Nick Mariano tied the game 13-13 with 2:13 left before Sims put one past Syracuse goalie Evan Malloy to give Army the upset win. Army scored 4 straight goals in the third period to take an 8-6 halftime lead. Syracuse fought back in the second half for the second straight week, but Sims put Army ahead 13-12 before Mariano tied it. Cole Johnson led the way for Army with 3 goals and 1 assist. Sims had 2 goals and an assist. Mariano led the way for Syracuse with 3 goals and an assist, while Jordan Evans added 2 goals and 2 assists. Syracuse faces Virginia next week, while Army takes on Lafayette.
Back in the Inside Lacrosse studio for the Epoch GameDay Recap, we are talking about number 20 Penn's 11-10 victory over number 7 Virginia in Franklin Field. An impressive performance out of Quaker sophomore goaltender Reed Junkin, who finished with 16 goals, and certainly seemed like the difference in the outcome in this one, Chris, particularly given how Virginia made a late rush and the Quakers were able to survive a last-minute event in front of the net. How'd you feel like the Quakers were able to come out on top?
I think they've just got a really solid defense in front of them, not to take any of the credit away from Reed Junkin, because he's played fantastically through 2, saving about 67% right now. But just the whole defense has had some stellar efforts. When they go into a zone, whatever they're going to do, they've really been solid, holding the 2 teams they've played so far, they're shooting about 18% on them. In that fourth quarter in particular, against Virginia just now, they killed 3 penalties, which is huge. It's just a really solid defense. I think could take them a long way.
And that is a Quaker win that salvaged the weekend for the Ivy League as the league went 2-5 in stellar competition.
Hi, this is Peter Katrumpis reporting for Inside Lacrosse at Fetzer Field in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, following up on a 13-5 win by the Johns Hopkins Blue Jays over the North Carolina Tar Heels. It was a dominating offensive display led by John Crowley's 4 goals, as well as Wilkins Dismukes and Joel Tinney's pair each, as the Blue Jays just overpowered the Tar Heels, who were led by Chris Cloutier's pair of goals. Goalkeeping was a key factor in this one, as Gerald Logan's 16 stops stymied the Tar Heels throughout. Work at the face-off X by Stephen Kelly dominated for Carolina, but this was underutilized by the Tar Heels. And when provided, the Blue Jays took advantage of transition and man-up opportunities to add to their lead.
Hey everyone, Kyle Devick coming to you live from the IL North studios. I was in attendance for Stony Brook's unbelievable shootout victory over Brown, 25-17. The Seawolves were led by Corey Vangenhoven's 7 goals and 1 assist. He garnered 3 of those 7 goals in a dominant 8-0 first quarter that really just put Brown on the back of their heels for the rest of the game. The Bears made a short comeback in the third quarter, cut the deficit to 2. Dylan Malloy led Brown with 4 goals and 2 assists. It just wasn't enough. These 2 teams combined for 104 shots in this contest. The goalies, 3 of them involved, 2 for Brown, 1 for Stony Brook, combined for 17 saves. Defense was not played in this game, and we were all treated to over 40 goals in attendance in Providence.
Hey everybody, this is Jeff Shannon with Inside Lacrosse here at Navy Marine Corps Stadium. Today I covered Boston University's 8-7 victory over Navy. Today's game came down to a last-second goal from Boston University's Jack Wilson on an assist from Cal Dirth to set up the final 8-7 score. Wilson was the Terriers' offensive leader, scoring 3 goals and 1 assist, while Dirth finished with 2 goals and assist. Civil defense was the star for Boston University today, and goalie Christian Carson Bannister finished with a game-high 10 saves. Navy scored 6 unanswered goals in the second half and saw 3 goals come from midfielder Colin Flaunlacker. But the team struggled in settled offense. BU now improves to 4-0 on the season, including 1-0 in the Patriot League, while Navy falls to 1-3 and 0-1 in the Patriot League.
Jack Goods here from Inside Lacrosse, and I just watched a more dominant game than you'd probably expect from a matchup between the number 16 and number 14 teams. Richmond knocks off Marquette 9-2, and they pretty much controlled all aspects of the game. An outstanding performance from them defensively, especially in the second half, shutting out the Golden Eagles in the final 2 frames. Pretty strong offensive performance as well from 2 of Richmond's more successful offensive weapons this year. Ryan Lee scores a hat trick and adds 2 assists. That's his 4th hat trick of the season already. Teddy Hatfield scores a pair of early goals that made it difficult for Marquette for the start. It seemed that Marquette's young defense, even though they only gave up 1 goal last week against Jacksonville, started to show some cracks as they were tested a little bit more frequently in this one. Cole Blazer sets a new career high for saves for Marquette with 15, but it wasn't enough to stop the bleeding in this top 20 matchup.
Moving around the rest of the Division I scene, Hobart doubled up Cornell 16-8, their first win over the Big Red in more than a decade. Penn State victors over Villanova 17-12. UMBC beats Mercer 15-4 to give new coach Ryan Moran his first win as a head coach. And lastly, the Denver Pioneers emerge 19-6 victors over Cleveland State. So they, along with Maryland, the reigning tied number 1 teams in the Maverick media poll. Be interesting to see how the voting shakes out this week.
That about wraps it up for this week. Thank you for joining us again on the Epoch ILGameday Recap. Follow along InsideLacrosse.com for your scores, stats, and highlights. Follow us on social media at Inside_Lacrosse on Twitter and at IL_photos on Instagram. Don't forget to gear up your season with Epoch's line of gear and apparel like the Gen 6 Dragonfly Shaft, Ultralight Otter Mesh, and the Hawk Prequel Head.